You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Exploring the multiverse of pop culture.
This is Pod Casserole.
An Adam and JP show.
Well, hello. Welcome to Pod Casserole.
Yeah, come on in, grab a dish.
I'm Jay Patrick. That's Adam. We have some fun stuff coming up this week.
We do. And I've got a hair in my eye.
Are you okay?
I think it's an eyelash.
Is it cat hair?
I think now my eyelids are balding. Is that possible? Can you do that?
What if all your eyelashes fell out? How would you look?
Like Powder?
And shave your eyebrows.
Didn't Powder have no hair at all?
Well, I don't know.
I know he was bald. I mean,
it's been a long time since I've watched Powder.
From the neck up.
Jeff Goldblum, right?
Yeah.
Was he Powder?
Nope, minor character.
Okay. Was he a scientist?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course he is. Jacob's Ladder. He talks about it.
Coming up this week, we're going to talk about the most controversial video games of all time.
This is a fun topic for me to talk about. We've done it before 5 years ago.
Not as in-depth as we're going to go with this one, though.
And if so, it was 4 or 5 years ago. So it's time for a good refresh
of
the brain of controversial video games. Quite a few we'll talk about. Quite a few.
Some good ones.
Yeah.
Some that might surprise you. These were actually made.
Range from the 70s until now. So controversy has no beginning and no end.
I don't think either one of us have this on our list, so I'll just throw this out there now. There's a video game called Ethnic Cleansing that was made by a white supremacist group.
Really?
And the company that did it, usually they put out music, like white supremacy music.
Yeah.
But then a few years ago, they got into the video game market and created a video game called Ethnic Cleansing.
Wow.
And the whole point of that game is to go around and take out minorities, basically.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
We should give a disclaimer before going too deep into this that we agree with none of this.
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
It's just that these are games we'll talk about that are controversial for a reason.
Right.
And even like typing some of this stuff, I felt bad typing it. I'm like, I'm going to say this on air, but disclaimer.
Yeah, one of the oldest video games we'll talk about is Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There's a tease.
Oh, yeah.
There's a tease for you.
Don't agree with it, but it happened, and it's worth talking about.
This episode of Pod Casserole brought to you by the Amazon store at esopodcast.com. If you're going to do some Amazon shopping in 2017, who doesn't?
Yeah, every single place you go can be bought cheaper on Amazon.
I don't know anyone who has an Amazon shop.
Except for the good comic shops around the world, especially Outer Limits Comics.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Don't buy your comics on Amazon.
Don't do that.
Go to a brick-and-mortar store.
Exactly.
I don't think you can you?
I don't think so. Maybe digital, but not physical.
Don't buy digital comics.
Yeah, don't. Ugh.
Even though they're convenient.
Gross.
Go to a brick-and-mortar comic shop. Free Comic Book Day is coming up.
Oh, it is, isn't it? It's in May. Wow.
It just seems like we just had Free Comic Book Day.
2012? Yeah. That's how far back my mind goes with that.
Well, I meant last year's.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It seems like 2012 was just yesterday.
It really does.
So, if you're going to do some Amazon shopping, use the link at the Amazon link at esopodcast.com.
I did some shopping myself at the brick-and-mortar Outer Limits Comics this week, Oh,
you sure did. Let's talk about what you got.
A good shipment of G.I. Joes, the classic 3 3/4-inch G.I. Joes. I couldn't resist.
Look to your left.
Ooh.
Any of those look familiar?
I see barbecue.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I got word from Josh of Collection Connection. Told me they had a good shipment of G.I. Joes in. I couldn't resist. Go there and pick them up.
You bought several.
Yeah.
Loose.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, they are fun.
Enjoy the Joes.
How's the rubber band in the middle?
Good. I checked them.
Yeah.
They're good. One,
Yeah.
it's got a few more days left on it.
Not a lot of posing going on.
The problem is to kind of expand it to check it. You're putting pressure on it, so it's scary. It's like a
snap.
Yeah, it's like a game of Russian G.I. Joe roulette when you do it.
I just broke his ribs.
I'm going to expand this rubber band to check the goodness of it, but by doing that, I could snap it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good test, but it's scary. But one has you can almost see through the rubber band. It's almost done.
So what all do they have there?
What do you mean?
Do they have vehicles too? You said a whole shipment of G.I. Joes.
Yeah, I would say at least whenever I was there, at least 30 or 35 loose G.I. Joes ranging from $2 to about $12, I think.
Right.
And I think in the back there they had some boxed vehicles still, 3 or 4 boxed vehicles.
That is cool.
Yeah. I just held the box. I'm like, oh, man, I feel like I'm 10 again.
Did they have the USS flag?
No room for that.
I had a friend who had that.
Yeah?
I think we all had that friend.
I never had that. I've seen one once in person. That was a different comic shop in Murfreesboro.
Yeah, I've played with the USS flag.
I'm pretty sure it's called Outer Limits as well.
I think it is too.
Is that the
That's
same?
very confusing.
I don't think it's the same people, by the way.
I don't think it is either.
How do you do that?
Well,
Is there a pod casserole somewhere else out there that talks about things?
funny you say that. Right when we decided to go with the name change,
Yeah.
I tried to research Pod Casserole. You know, we wanted to make sure there wasn't another podcast called that.
Yeah.
And there was back in 2012.
Really?
And they even have, and we didn't want to change our Twitter and all that, but I wanted to own anything to kind of prevent, you know.
Yeah.
I wanted to tweet block anybody from using Pod Casserole. There is a @Pod Casserole.
Really?
And it's been dormant for the last 6 years.
Really?
There's like 2 tweets, and that's it.
Like, oh, we're so excited about our podcast. It'll last forever.
Uh-huh.
Episode 2 season 2 just came out 2 weeks later. That's what they're doing.
It's like the HBO series of podcasts.
Yeah.
You get a season every 3 years.
Yeah. Season 2 will start any day now. 6 years later.
But yeah, if you go to Twitter, you will find an @PodcastRoll. That's not us.
No, wow.
No. We're Adam and JP.
For sure.
Just like AdamandJP.com.
Speaking of those same names, my wife found it was one of those promoted posts or like pages you may like on the side of her Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, come here. And it was called Adam and JP TV.
I saw that.
And like 2 guys I've never seen or heard in my life. And they were
Yeah.
there just with Adam and JP TV.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest thing to see that.
Douchebags. Get out of here.
Yeah, they probably saw ours and said the same thing.
Probably. Who are these guys? They should change their name.
Yeah.
I want to bring back something that we've done the last couple of weeks, but I promise my intentions was never to make this a weekly thing.
But it's natural.
But it seems to
the way it
be.
works.
Yeah, I keep finding stuff, and I've got to talk about the stuff this week. So let's go with this week in NWO news. So, Adam,
Oh, yeah.
one of my favorite things to do now is read Jose Canseco's tweets.
Right.
He is crazy.
As it should be.
He is a conspiracy theorist.
He is deathly afraid of the robot revolution.
He is.
Yeah.
So, should we begin this week in NWO news with a little reading of Jose Canseco tweets?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Jose Canseco says, for each job robotized, there should be an annual 50% human replacement cost savings tax to fund bigger and better SOC and SEC bennies for the people.
Benefits.
Yeah.
No, that made no sense to
I'm
me
guessing
at
he was
first.
He's probably -3 on his Twitter account. And I'm like, man, I'll change benefits to bennies.
What's SOC and SEC?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Let us know. And price caps, he continues. For each dollar saved by robotizing, companies must reduce their prices or rebate customers 50% of all gotten robot gains. I'm speaking oddly because I'm trying to real-time fix his typos here. Where he says all gotten robot games, it autocorrects you aisle.
Oh, okay.
Gotten
Okay.
robot games.
Oh, okay. Got you. Oh, sorry. I got it. Here we go. Sorry.
Can't get these damn robots out of my head, says Jose. Jose continues, need Robot Repression Act. 1. Robots never to own property. 2. Robots never be given right to vote. Don't laugh, non-human entities. Do today.
So he's speaking to the robots.
I think so.
Don't laugh, robots.
Yeah.
This is going to happen.
Once again, I think his Twitter text count was -1, so he had to change the laugh to LAFF. That is your weekly Jose
laughing.
Canseco tweets about robots.
Oh, wow. He's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I saw earlier in his Twitter feed, he was talking about how he would go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner
Yeah.
and talk about his Trump dragon painting.
He's in a lot of political stuff. He's trying to hug Jack Nicholson for the Oscar flub when it was actually Warren Beatty.
Yeah. Well, that takes us to my item in this week in NWO news.
Okay.
If you watch the Oscars or if you've been online in the last 7 days, you have to know that at the end of the Academy Awards, the wrong award was handed out to Best Picture. It was handed out to La La Land. The wrong card was there.
Right.
Something crazy happened that La La Land was announced, but the actual Best Picture went to Moonlight. Mm-hmm. The conspiracy theories and the believers in the Illuminati went nuts with this, that this was all an Illuminati ploy. Like the New World Order actually made this happen. I found one of those online. He goes by the name of Pockets of the Future on YouTube. He's a YouTuber. He's got a lot of followers.
Really?
There's a lot of subscribers. He's got a lot of subs.
So POTF? I just think Power of the Force, Star Wars, and I see that.
Wow.
Here. Sorry, that's where my brain took
It's a good pool. So Pockets of the Future released a 6-minute video. Actually, he's got 3 or 4 talking about this, but this is the first one. And he explains why, in this one, he explains why the New World Order wants to do something like this. And he believes it's his job to expose the lies. And in this clip, listen to the very end, what he also references as being faked by the New World Order. This is ridiculous.
And the reason that I'm saying, there's many reasons why I'm saying this looks completely fake and staged. And the first reason is because the lie needs like booster shots to keep it strong. And so these people in what I call the controllers, the Illuminati, anybody with this that works with dark energy becomes compulsive set of behaviors and attitudes. And so if it doesn't get booster shots, the lie would be exposed. So what do we see? Repetitive patterns. We see this with all these fake and staged shootings that we've seen over the years.
So did you get that?
Yeah.
All these fake and staged shootings. Now, this is something that I found that the believers in the New World Order believe, and we've talked about it a little bit, that there are these crisis actors that they send out when a tragedy happens, like the Boston bombing or the Sandy Hook,
yeah.
Right. That's what he's referencing.
Wow.
So basically he's saying not only was the end of the Oscars faked by the New World Order, but also that Sandy Hook thing didn't really happen. To me, that is so disrespectful.
Yeah. Why can't people believe that bad things just happen? It's not good. It's not nice. It's not enjoyable, but it happens.
But it gets better because now he goes on to he ties what happened with the Oscars to what happened with Steve Harvey and the Super Bowl. Listen to this.
Wow.
But what happened last year at the Miss Universe pageant? Well, the wrong name was read. Do you remember that? That was 2016, just last year. And then you have this situation where a year later, the same exact screw-up happens. But because our society is played out, people are just losing interest in the things that they used to watch, like, say, the Oscars. So they got to insert some sort of controversy in it. Just like with the Super Bowl, they went for the big kahuna. Like, they didn't just go with, all right, the Patriots win. They had to have this monumental miracle-like comeback, and that's why it looks so fake and staged. Like, it had to be impossible what the Patriots did. And so this is the same sort of thing with this Best Picture, because why not have this little glitchy thing happen for Best Supporting Actor, one of those technical awards that nobody cares about?
It would be easy to make fun.
Yeah.
That would be the easy way. What I try to do is actually try to get into someone's mind. Why would you believe? So nothing is real in these people's minds. How do you
Nothing
get to
at
that
all.
point?
Everything is a conspiracy. Everything has a tie behind it. Like, what's the point of why? Say I will believe you in your craziness, and say the NWO did stage the Super Bowl outcome.
Right.
Why? That's my question.
Well, because they have to keep their foothold in our world of entertainment, I think is what they're saying. They have to keep the foothold in the world of entertainment, sports, and news in order to keep controlling us.
So out of the thousands of people employed by the NFL, no one has talked about that before.
That's what I would think. Right. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
You would think there would be a whistleblower somewhere. Like someone would,
Since the beginning of the NFL, I would guess quite a few thousand people.
Right.
Many dozens of thousands of people. Not one person's spoken to that before, of everything being rigged.
Exactly.
Come on.
And he's saying that as people start to lose interest, as the masses start to lose interest in the things that they've given us, like the Miss Universe Award, like the Academy Awards, like the Super Bowl, he's drawing a parallel, which, I mean, this is the typical conspiracy theory thing. Take a little nugget of truth and a little nugget of truth and draw a line that doesn't exist. His little nugget of truth is, the ratings were down for the Super Bowl the last couple of years. And the ratings have been down for pageants, and the ratings have dropped drastically for award shows. So he's saying that the New World Order knows this, so they've got to give us something that's going to get us interested and make us tweet about it and become viral. And that's why the thing happened with Steve Harvey. That's why the Patriots made such a drastic comeback. And that's why the wrong Best Picture award was handed out at the Oscars.
That's crazy. People just can't believe anything, like you said.
But that brings us to the best part.
Oh, boy.
To initiate something like this, you have to have a major person in charge, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that person was none other than the host, Jimmy Kimmel.
And award shows are about ritualistic humiliation. We've seen this happen before in many of these other award shows. And, of course, Jimmy Kimmel is sort of like the king of humiliation. He does these things. I've talked about how he has connections to Freemasonry. His studio that he does his show from is an old Freemasonic lodge, and he has humiliated many stars. He has that thing, the mean tweets thing. And so this goes hand in hand with him being the master, the grand poobah, the master of ceremonies.
So Jimmy Kimmel...
He's behind it, huh?
Is a master in the Illuminati.
What do you call him, a poopa?
A grand poobah. Poobah. Like a grand poobah.
Ah, poobah. I can't get down with that. He's saying that a sporting event, which is not pre-scripted, is scripted.
Yes.
He's saying an award show that is scripted acted like it wasn't scripted because it's scripted.
Exactly.
So no matter what happens, he says that the NWO is behind it. Is he saying pro wrestling that is meant to be scripted actually isn't scripted because the NWO is behind it?
And you're NWO for life.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
they're both different.
If you want to
different
bring
ends of the
pro
spectrum.
wrestling into it, if they wanted to normalize the idea of the NWO, that's why the NWO was part of professional
That's
wrestling.
possible, and people like saying the word, and they want to wear the shirts and be a part of it.
Yeah.
For life.
The last clip I'm going to play is he finally, gives his diatribes and his explanations, and he talks about who the real victim of this was. And just listen to this.
Apparently this movie Moonlight, which I hadn't heard about, wasn't at any movie theater that I heard about, but it says Moonlight is about a young boy struggling with poverty and his sexuality in Miami. And it's a film that's basically stars black people. And black people got more Academy Awards than anybody else. So this was a film about, I guess, a young black, possibly gay young man, and they didn't get this award cleanly, which happens quite often when they give awards to black people. When black people are celebrated, they often do things in a way where they get like a little bit, they don't get it cleanly. There's always some sort of controversy about it. There's other implications here in terms of the Freemasonic culture, the Illuminati culture, and all these types of things. The humiliation aspect of it and all of it. The idol worship. But again, it's a lie. It's all artificial. They just have to create these illusions. There's nothing that happens organically in these things anymore, which makes it even worse. All right, this is Paul Romano reporting from the apocalypse. Everybody have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day.
Wow. Reporting from the apocalypse.
So to just kind of sum up that last clip, the Illuminati, obviously made of white people, a totally racist organization, realized, like much of America had realized, that the Oscars seemed to be primarily a white award show, and so this year the Academy took steps to recognize more movies than they had in the past. And this was all a ploy by the Illuminati to give an Academy Award to a film that was written, produced, and starred African Americans, but just kind of as a thumb in their face. That all happened at the end.
Have you read the comments for this video yet?
I have not.
I'm curious if it's people agreeing, like, yeah, you say your thing, or people just calling him what he is, a dumbass.
Well, I know what I would say.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But when you go, this guy looks normal. He's like, his profile picture, he's wearing a Boston Red Sox shirt with his kids around him.
Right, yeah.
He just looks like a dad. But he's written a book. I kind of want to read his book.
Ooh.
I forgot the name of it. But Pockets of the Future is his YouTube page.
Okay.
So there you have this week in NWO News. Wow.
Yeah, he's a normal-looking guy, like you said. I looked him up. Looks like a normal guy.
Yeah. I'm going to go through more of his YouTube videos.
I feel like we'd see him at any arcade expo around town.
Yeah, we could. We might see him this weekend.
It's
in
possible,
Louisville.
yeah. Wow.
If you got something you want us to look into for this week in NWO News.
There are conspiracies everywhere.
Yeah, you can reach out to us. You can do that at adamandjp.com.
Wow.
Right there, go to the contacts page and you can send an email.
Well, like you said, what's even weirder about that is he looks so normal. Yes. I expect like an old guy, just like in a full suit, head to toe.
Yeah.
Like with pleated pants and gold wing shoes and just like kind of off. But this guy doesn't seem off.
Like someone who looks like they could be part of the NWO.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, this guy not so much.
The New World Order.
Wow.
Just crazy.
I wonder what, like, there's got to be something in someone's life that makes them snap and have that train of thought from the get-go.
What I'm more curious to find
Can
out.
some people not accept the world is just has bad people in it, and sometimes bad
things happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's same for, that kind of mentality, or like some people either like clasp on to a religion or totally abandon religion from the get-go because they can't accept one of those things. You know what I'm saying?
We see that mindset on a smaller scale every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say a friend of yours gets fired from their job. Well, they're not most of the time. Well, and before I say this, people sometimes get fired that shouldn't get fired. I do realize that happens, but no one ever says, "Yeah, I wasn't doing a very good job and I got fired." Nobody ever says that, or very few say that. Usually, it's some sort of conspiracy with people. Well, they didn't like me.
That's true. Yeah.
It's that same mindset. It's just on a much grander global scale, and you apply it to governmental institutions and apparently the world of entertainment.
Right.
So
weird, huh?
Thanks, Pockets of the Future, for this week in
I think there's a whole website, pocketsofthefuture.com. I'm there right now.
Oh, well.
It is GeoCitiestastic. It is.
Hey, we have a Patreon page, Adam.
We do.
How do you find us on Patreon?
Patreon.com/podcasserole. You can go there and check our sweet little video we made up and check it all out. Like you've done before, listen to us. If you like what you hear, you can become a patron yourself. And we have exclusive Patreon-only podcasts on there from the archives of the formerly Adam and JP show. You can find on there, and different tiers of different fun things you can become a Patreon for Pod Casserole. We'd appreciate it.
Just $1 a month gets you access to our archives.
For $1 a month, you can support Pod Casserole.
#Save Pod Casserole.
Yeah.
I want to, if you're on the fence, I want to entice you to go ahead and go to patreon.com/podcasserole and become a Patreon of ours. And right now, we're in the process of putting up almost a trilogy of shows.
Yeah.
It's from the summer of 2014.
And it is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It's fun to go back and listen to, but it is just absurd.
And I'm about to prove to you just how ridiculous it is. It started on the Adam and JP show. It continued on Collection Connection. And coming up this week, we'll round out that trilogy with an episode of 8-Bit Adam.
Yeah.
Currently, you can find this episode of Collection Connection from the summer, I think 4th of July weekend, 2014, is when we recorded. And Collection Connection, if you're not familiar with it, is our sister show hosted by Josh about collectibles, toys, really cool stuff.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
A lot of people are on there from time to time. Right now, this week, it's the second part of Josh's interview with a custom figure maker called Killer Bootlegs.
Yeah.
And a fascinating interview. This, not as fascinating as that. During the summer of 2014.
But worth every penny.
Yes, it is. All 100. On Collection Connection, Josh would do things called Know Your Joes.
Which in the history of Collection Connection, not to stop this here.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure I've never done one before, right?
Well.
Wait, have I?
I'm about to prove you wrong.
Oh, are you serious?
Sort of.
I have no recollection of ever doing one.
Well, you cheated.
I've always wanted to, I never did.
Well, you cheated.
Okay.
And I'm gonna play that in a second. This is from the beginning of that episode of Collection Connection. It's just chaos, and it's us talking about doing Know Your Joes.
Yeah.
And I'll just let you listen.
Okay. It's G.I. Joe on the 4th of July weekend. You understand?
I created the greatest Know Your Joe of all time.
Deep Six.
The often imitated but never duplicated Know Your Joe. Hey, man, this is G.I. Joe.
Hey, man.
Hey man, this Deep Six down here.
That was my creation.
Anybody see
And now
Gung Ho
everybody
lately?
does
My
it.
favorite part.
Hey, this is Scarlet. hey, this is Flint. Hey guys, this out here is Major Blue. Cobra. If you need to do a G.I. Joe voice, you just do it like this.
I almost did.
Or like this.
I almost had to pull over whenever he did. He was, anybody seen Gung Ho lately?
Anybody seen any groupers?
Fucking grouper stuff.
Anybody seen any groupers? You seen a nice looking bunch of groupers on here?
That's what it was, too.
Man, there was some snapper in the prettiest fish I ever seen.
So
I'm not sure that gets me. It still to this day gets me. I don't know why.
that ridiculousness starts the episode.
Like you said, we were in the middle of like a podcasting marathon, right? It was
Yeah.
3-4 hours at least.
I don't had anyone had any alcohol?
No, this was middle of the day.
Yeah, it was the middle of the day. Later in the episode, when we actually get around to doing Know Your Joes, I say I've done it so many times I don't want to do it anymore. Adam's never done it. So you agree to do it. But the Joe that you pick is Snake Eyes.
Wait, did I pick Snake Eyes or was that given to me?
No, you picked Snake Eyes.
That's funny. That is, I
So
forgot.
if you're not familiar with the world of G.I. Joe, a real American hero, Adam, give us a brief overview of Snake Eyes.
quickly, he is like a ninja assassin that doesn't speak.
So doing an audio version of that on a
Right.
podcast where
Yeah.
you're supposed to voice Snake Eyes
But I love Snake Eyes.
is a bit of a cheat.
A little bit,
It's kind of cheating.
maybe, but it's one of those classic. I mean, you won't forget it.
Well, you went with Snake Eyes, and then Josh had a great idea.
JP,
What?
if Deep Six and Snake Eyes talked.
Yeah, let's have a conversation. Start me off here. Start me off right.
It's awfully cold down here, isn't it? I used to fish these lands. How about you? You don't say much, do you?
You ain't a man of me. Over the mic.
Josh just, in his excitement to do this voice,
You ain't a man
Josh
of
just
many
knocked
words,
over
are
the
you?
table.
You ain't a man of many words, are you?
He's also a qualified expert in all NATO and Warsaw Pact small
Yeah,
arms.
we find that to be the
Yeah.
common.
Yeah, the man is a total mystery. Here's the quote for him. You ready for the quote?
Yeah.
The man is a total mystery, but he's real good at his job. Heck, he's the best.
So there you have it.
So I had to know your Joes before.
Yeah.
I can't say I haven't.
You'd pick Snake Eyes, the mute.
That's funny. That whole series of episodes really cracks me up.
It's ridiculous.
Was that the same? Was that the Flarp episode, or is that later on?
That's later on.
Oh man, to this day, if I listen to Flarp, I'm crying. It's so funny.
This episode continues with us with the squeezy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures.
Oh yeah.
The squeezable ones.
Yeah.
And we play with them so much they pop throughout the episodes.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't want to spoil who takes one in the face at the end of the episode.
wow, I've totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back. I may become a Patreon myself. a patron myself and check it out.
So yeah, if that sounds fun to you, and really, why wouldn't it?
Hey, come on,
I mean, it does sound like mass chaos ridiculousness,
a little
but
bit, but we play with toys and talk about toys as well.
yeah, it actually is a pretty fun episode.
Yeah.
Regardless, the parts you can understand. Go to patreon.com/podcastroll, $1 a month. Patreon gets access to our archives. And we'll be recording a Patreon exclusive episode coming up very soon.
Yeah, very soon. Excited about that.
Controversial games, Adam.
Oh yeah, we love them. We know them.
We'll do them.
Next.
Hey everyone, venture into the pop culture cosmos today, where you'll hear our conversations on different topics within the world of movies, TV, video games, comic books, technology, board gaming, and more. You'll also get a taste of some of our other shows within the cosmos as well. So come on and join us each week as we delve into the pop culture cosmos.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
This kind of reminds me of the old 8-bit Adam days.
Oh, it's true. Yeah.
Or a dance club in the 90s.
This song brings back strange memories. This song does.
Oh, do tell.
So
it's the theme for Mortal Kombat,
of course,
which will be our first game we talk about.
This is going to sound weird at first, but hang with me. In around 97, 98, when this movie comes out, my friends and I love this. We'd go into my friend's basement. This is like ultimate teenage male violence at its greatest, but it sounds weird. But we turn the lights out totally, crank this song up, and just fight in the dark.
Like each other?
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 guys. We just like swing punches and kicks and busted lips and noses and tackle, and it was cool. It was like the ultimate testosterone fest.
You'd actually fight?
Yeah, but like with the lights out, so you don't know. You have to like use your senses.
You don't know what you're hitting.
Exactly.
You don't know what you're grabbing.
That's a terrible. Like.
Did you wear a cup?
No, never got. I don't think I ever got many nut shots.
Did you use weapons?
No, just your fist. Mortal Kombat, man, no weapons.
Yeah, that whole thing that video games are too violent and they inspire kids to be violent. That's all bullshit.
Didn't come from that. It's off the soundtrack of the movie.
Yeah, you would have done it regardless.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
It was either the Mortal Kombat theme or James Taylor.
Exactly. Pretty much. Peter, Paul, and Mary, whatever your taste is.
The Magic Dragon.
But this, of course, ties into Mortal Kombat.
Let's start with one of the most controversial game series probably in our lifetime.
Yeah.
The Mortal Kombat games.
Released in 1992. This, along with quite a few other games we'll talk about later on, kind of brought upon the ESRB, the Entertainment Software Rating Board. And, everyone knows this game by now, and it's kind of your normal genre fighter. But back in 1992, when it comes out in the arcade and the home consoles, this raised a lot of eyebrows for the realism, the blood, the gore, the actual fatality idea in there where you can kill your opponent. And for some reason, games have been violent and crazy before. 20 years prior we'll talk about soon, but in 1992, the parents had enough, and they just wanted an actual rating system for video games, and it came from games like this.
Do you think it had to do with, and hang with me here, when I say this, with 2017 standards, it's going to be a ridiculous statement, but in the early 1990s, when this game came around, the graphics looked real.
Oh, yeah, they were digitized, actual real actors, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that had something to do with it? That it didn't look like cartoon violence?
I think so, because you could punch what you saw as a real person. At the time, pretty good graphics for a real person. It was kind of like a moving movie for the most part. You punch them, and you see digitized blood, or depending on which home console, maybe sweat, but blood or sweat comes off of that real person, and you see that real person just kind of stabbed or beheaded. I think that's a lot more realistic to them. But, it's ridiculous now and laughable. You could honestly show this to a 6-year-old, and they wouldn't be offended by it.
Yeah, today it looks very cartoony.
Yeah.
But back then, not so much.
Yeah, that's the thing with all this stuff. Well, not all of it, but 75% of the games we talk about were controversial because of the time they came out. 75%.
On the Sega Genesis before the Super Nintendo, correct?
Yeah. I believe so. It may have been the same time release. I know the Genesis, I believe, had the blood, and the Super Nintendo did not.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Because I remember playing it on the Genesis more than anything.
Right, yeah.
I think it's safe to say Mortal Kombat helped make the Sega Genesis.
Pretty much, yeah. It was a big sell.
Yeah.
It was.
It was a dorm room staple.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Everybody had a Genesis and a copy of Mortal Kombat.
But I think there may be 1 or 2 on this list besides this one here, but it's one of the very few controversial games that wasn't snuffed out because of its controversy.
No pun intended.
It's kind of continued to this day. Mortal Kombat XL came out just last year.
How many Mortal Kombat games have there been?
And do you count the actual numbered installments or not, or what are you counting?
Let's go with overall.
Okay.
Do you even know?
No, not overall. As far as like numbered,
10
came out 2 or 3 years ago, and then XL, which is the basically Ultimate Edition with all the downloadable characters, and so that was 10.5 of the numbered. But then you have Shaolin Monks. You have, many weren't even numbered. So who knows? Who knows?
Favorite Mortal Kombat fighter?
Liu Kang. I know he's kind of the basic standard, but I love Liu Kang. What about you? Or close second is Johnny Cage. I think he's a classic.
Scorpion.
Really? Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, I like Scorpion. I like throwing things.
Yeah, they're fun. Sub-Zero's good too. I like them all.
Sub-Zero wins.
What about you? What do you have for controversies?
I'm going to go with a computer game, and this came out in 2004. So this really wasn't that stride. It was a little early for the stride of the sim games that we've had over the last few years, but it was a simulation game. It's called JFK Reloaded, Adam.
Oh, wow. Okay. Never heard of that one, actually.
And it came out on November 22nd, 2004, which was very close to the the anniversary of the assassination of JFK.
Yeah.
And Traffic Games put this out. And this is exactly what you think it might be. You are Lee Harvey Oswald. Wow. And you're up in your nest in the Dallas School Book Depository. And it's a very, very short game. And all you play is you're standing there, you're looking down on Daley Plaza, and you have to shoot JFK as he drives by.
Wow.
That is the plot of JFK Reloaded.
That's crazy.
I do have a clip here because there's not a lot of sound in the game other than gunfire, but there is a beginning. I found a YouTuber named Flippy who there's a screen at the beginning that kind of explains the game, and it's him reading that screen.
Starting the game, we're greeted with this help screen. You are about to take the role of Lee Harvey Oswald. Aim Oswald's gun with your mouse. Left mouse button fires, right mouse button zooms in with his telescopic sight. JFK Reloaded is a simulation program. Because of this, your bullets travel through the air like real ammunition. Don't forget to anticipate the target, aim a little higher according to range, and take into account the movement of your target. Yeah, this is already creeping me out. Let's just go ahead and start the game.
Wow.
Yeah, and then, you play as Lee Harvey Oswald. And when you shoot Kennedy, they've gone in and digitized basically the Zapruder film. And so what you get is replay after replay after replay after replay based on the shots from the Zapruder film. And some from the other side of the car perspective.
Yeah.
So it's basically a headshot over and over and over again. It's called JFK Reloaded.
It's weird. This time, I guess time heals all wounds, but how is that even made? That's so odd.
Ask Traffic Games.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you can find video, you can find gameplay online on YouTube.
Wow.
There's players have played through it.
Jeez.
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
But definitely a controversial game.
Yeah, for sure. Any controversial video game list can't be completed without talking about Night Trap,
Oh, yeah.
From 1992. I'm a big fan of FMV games, full motion video games. I love them so much. And this is one of the first games Digital Pictures, the king of the FMV, ever put out. And once again, kind of made the SRB even happen in the first place.
But why?
A good question. Good question. You think of that, and you hear every single list of controversy, you're going to see Night Trap. The odd thing is there's no extreme violence. There's no sexual, even really innuendos. The worst thing you see is it's supposed to be a teenage girl. I believe she's in her mid-20s.
Oh, it's Dana.
Yeah, she's some famous
Plato
actress.
from Different Strokes.
Oh, that's who it was, yeah. She's in a nightgown being drug away by vampires, and they're using like a blood-draining device. And it's very cartoonish and not realistic at all, but for some reason, parents and consumers latched onto this imagery and made the ESRB even happen from the get-go. The footage from the game was filmed in 1987, originally intended to be played on Hasbro's Control Vision system, which used VHS tapes. And that was stored in a vault for a long time. And in 1991, Digital Pictures bought the footage and released it on the Sega CD in 1992.
Now, you can watch just the movie.
Right, yeah.
You can find, it's about an hour long on YouTube that takes you basically through the entire plot of the game.
Yeah.
The main character talks to you. Like, you basically help her set up these traps throughout the house. And then when she gets in, a perilous situation, you're supposed to activate one of the traps.
Yeah.
I did something special for you.
Oh, what's that?
I have many clips from Night
Trap. Oh, really?
Trap.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And there is a wide cast of characters.
I love these games so much.
Here's the beginning of Night Trap as you meet the stars of the adventure that you're about to take together.
Welcome to our little getaway.
Father, I want you to meet Cindy. Hi. Ashley. Hi. Megan. Hey. Lisa. Hi. Her little brother Danny. What's up? And, Kelly. Nice to meet you, Mr. Martin.
Please, call me Victor.
Please, call me Victor. Kelly is the main character.
Right. Have you played any of these FMV games at all, like these trap games?
No.
So you have Night Trap, shortly followed by Double Switch after this. The same idea. It's your main character speaking to you in a first-person perspective. In Double Switch, Corey Haim is the person you're working with. Arlie Ermy is in there. Debbie Harry is in Double Switch. If you can, watch the Double Switch movie. It's a Sega CD, Sega Saturn game. One of my favorite video games of all time. Seriously.
I lied to you.
Yeah.
Black Dahlia
Uh-huh.
was one of my favorite computer games back in the day.
Yeah.
And Dennis Hopper is in that.
Oh, really?
And it's
Nice.
an FMV game.
There you go.
So as you play through, you basically watch this kind of movie. Which, I mean, a lot of these games at the time had elements of that.
Right,
Even
yeah.
Resident Evil had a movie at the beginning.
Yeah, this is like controllable, and it's the same
Yeah.
concept as Night Trap. It's you helping trap these bad people. It's awesome.
Kelly, who is played by Dana Plato,
Right.
She is actually an undercover agent who's trying to infiltrate this house.
Yeah.
And so you meet all slowly, one by one, the girls start to disappear.
Right.
And in classic 1980s horror,
Yeah.
form, the girls all
They're
disappear.
scantily clad.
Yeah. But not really.
No, not bad. No.
But like at the high point of this game, it's her running around in
a nightgown.
She is in a nightgown
That's
at one
it.
point.
I mean, it's not even like a midriff nightgown. It's a full nightie.
And at the end, she's in a bra and her
yeah.
jeans.
Yeah.
But it's not like a revealing. It's a pretty.
Yeah, it's like a bathing suit top.
It is basically a bathing suit top. Yeah. You do mention the traps. Tony, who is the son of Victor. You can call me Victor. Tony is Victor's son and is one of the bad guys. He has Kelly trapped on the stairwell, and she's pleading to the player to help her basically get Tony entrapped in one of the night traps.
To interfere, and now you will pay.
Tony, I don't understand. This is crazy.
Don't be foolish, Kelly. They wouldn't stand in my way. Would you?
Yeah, she tells you when to set the trap off.
Yeah.
And Tony was talking to you, too.
Yeah.
It's so weird that all this weird stuff is going on in this house.
It's a lot of things.
And then there's this guy sitting
Yeah.
at home with his joystick.
Literally.
Helping set off these traps.
Yeah.
The version of the movie I watched had the sad ending.
Oh, no good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where, you kind of... Well, I'll just play it. This is the end of the game.
Help me, please. You're the only one that can save me. You're all mine now. Whose side are you on, anyway? No. Just relax. You won't feel a thing. No! How could you let this happen?
Kelly's pissed at you.
Wow.
So that's the version of the game where you let Kelly die at the end.
So what made you think in 1992, the release of this game, what made it so bad? I mean, really? There's stuff for 20 years prior that had been happening.
The acting's
Games
pretty terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, it made it so bad as far as like what the parents thought was controversial.
Oh, well, it was just different.
I guess, yeah.
Like-
Like you said, it's the fact that realism came into play.
Yeah.
The digitized actors for Mortal Kombat, the full motion video for Night Trap. I think when people saw a Super Mario, and that was violent, he's pretty much killing what you want to call animals, beasts, whatever. They're dying when he defeats them.
Right.
So I guess what's different here is the realism of it.
This is shot, acted, and presented like one of the scary movies on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, pretty much.
like a
Yeah.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah, or
This
You
is
Afraid of the Dark. It feels like that.
Like maybe a PG-13 Goosebumps movie.
Yeah.
Is basically what this
It's
is.
an edgy Goosebumps.
But as all great 80s horror, well, maybe not all, but all great 80s movies, you got to have a theme song. Can I get Night Trap on iTunes?
I doubt it.
So there you have
So
Night
good.
Trap.
I'm an FMV fan. Such a fan. So I'm sad that one's controversial, but it is on the list of most controversial games because just the backlash it had.
Mm-hmm.
Not deservingly, but it happened.
And then a lot of those FMVs, though, that were just equally as graphic,
right?
Which there was none in this,
Yeah.
unless there's something I didn't see in the gameplay.
No, there's not. There's nothing. The worst thing is for her in the 90, a.k.a. undies, and being drug away by evil entities with blood-draining devices.
Have you ever played I also played D, which was an FMV.
Yeah.
But it was animated. I don't think it was video.
I think it has some, like you said with Resident Evil, I think it has some
Yeah.
cutbacks of some FMV stuff.
It's no worse than that.
No.
It's no worse than...
I would say D is worse. I mean, that's got some graphic stuff.
Uh-huh.
Parts of
This
people
is all
impaled on
very-
spikes. And
very comical.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's got the cheese to it, the cheese factor.
The best part of that, though, is at the beginning when you meet like the SWAT team or whatever that Kelly is actually a secret agent for.
Uh-huh.
The leader is talking to you, and he's like, "This is Kelly. She's our super secret premier agent. I don't want anything to happen to her. You're not going to let anything happen to her, are you?"
No, please. It's me and my joystick over here.
Wow. Next on my list is a game called Death Race, and it actually came out in 1976. It was one of the early arcade games.
Right.
And again, this is one of those games that was so controversial at the time. Like 60 minutes did a story about it.
Really?
And called it Sick and Morbid. Like parents groups rallied against this game because it was called Death Race. Now, the plot of Death Race was you're a car driving around and you have to run over what they call gremlins and zombies. That's what they say.
Not real people.
The original title of this hit-and-run game was called Pedestrian. And it takes its name from Death Race 2000, the Roger Corman movie, which, was, you hit whatever.
Right.
I love the sounds of this game. Listen to this. See if you can guess when you hit one of the gremlins in Death Race.
Was that a gremlin? That's another gremlin.
I mean, this is one of those 1976 games.
That's funny.
I mean, again, when you look at this today, it's what?
Yeah.
There was controversy, but parents groups called it Sick and Morbid. 60 Minutes did like a 30-minute long story about how violent and disgusting this video game was.
Wow.
In 1976.
Wow.
Death Race.
Jeez, we've spoken a lot of games that don't really deserve the controversy surrounding them, so now I'm going to bring it down a notch and maybe bring you some games that definitely do deserve the controversy.
Okay.
And that is Custer's Revenge. You've heard of that one before. We've spoken it before on the show. Not as much detail before, but it's a game. As you can hear, it's one of those classic Atari-style games.
It sounds like Asteroids.
It does. So this one, did you know the different names this game had throughout its development? And
No.
It was almost released as, at first it was called Westward Ho.
Oh, yes.
And then it was called The White Man Came.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so Custer's Revenge is released in 1982 on the Atari 2600. It's weird because the whole industry around the crash of 83, they saw it coming. So before and after the crash of 83, many developers tried to stay afloat by making these adult video game titles. And so some weird stuff happened around between like 82 and 84. Weird things came out. And to me, the one that stands out the most is Custer's Revenge. Best way to cleanly describe this gameplay is you have one screen. On the left side, you have Custer himself, apparently. On the right side, you have a Native American female tied to a post. Now, Custer is in his normal attire, but not so much, just a hat only. Nothing but a hat.
Yeah.
And his flopping erection, he must make his way and dodge obstacles to get from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen to the woman on the pole and have his way with her in Custer's Revenge.
Yeah. I mean, and that's how you get points.
Yeah.
But you have to dodge the arrows, right?
Arrows coming in. Yeah. That's the game.
So
Custer's Revenge.
I guess the problem that I have with this game isn't necessarily whatever. They want to make adult titled games for adults. That's fine, even in the mid 80s. But this is rapey,
right,
and racist.
Right.
This is a racist rapey game.
Yeah.
Which is just, I guess, with the perspective of someone from the 21st century,
right?
You're just like, wow, I can't believe this was ever marketed.
That's crazy, right? This was only 1982. This was not centuries ago.
Right.
This was, 30 years ago.
Yeah,
that's crazy to me.
So let's take a historical figure at a horrible time in the history of America and make him a sexual predator, basically.
Yeah. Now the image is crazy. But the subject is not. The image of him, the character, is funny and stupid.
Yes.
Just the flopping erection as he's going around but what happens afterwards is it's crazy to even watch.
Yeah.
Even in terrible graphics of 1982, it's tough to watch.
I don't want to harp on this.
Yeah.
But just to reiterate.
Yeah.
The plot of this game was for Custer to rape a Native American woman.
That's how you win the game. Now that's controversial.
Yeah.
To this day, 35 years later, that deserves some controversy.
Yeah. Well, let's stick with that same idea in a game.
Okay.
And I'm going to do one. I know you have this on your list, but you can talk about it here. I'm going to go to the 1973 a full 10 years before Custer's Revenge.
Yeah.
The 1973 game got you. Gotcha. Thank you. And I'm not talking about the paintball game from the 90s.
I forgot about that. Wow, that's funny.
This was the original gotcha.
That had an exclamation. It made it official.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And was pretty fun.
It's kind of whispery. Gotcha.
Yeah, this one's kind of weird.
It's whispery.
Gotcha. It's more like, gotcha.
Yeah.
1973, Atari put this out. This was a arcade game.
Right.
This was not on the home console.
Because I think it'd be almost impossible to play it in its proper way on the home console. You had to have the feel, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's true. The plot of Gotcha in 1973 it's a maze game because they were very limited. When you look at the Pong games and that sort of stuff, even Death Race, it's not a lot to it. There wasn't a lot they could do. They were very limited in the graphics.
Dots and bricks and lines. And,
and mazes.
Mm-hmm.
Mazes were very popular in these early arcade games. So Gotcha is a maze game that two people play. One is trying to get away from the other. So you have a person that is being pursued and the pursuer through a maze. And you're trying to chase this person.
That sounds innocent enough. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'd play that game. Wouldn't feel bad about it.
Well, let's start with what you alluded to, the design of this arcade cabinet.
Right.
You had two controllers that were in pink domes that resembled boobs.
Right.
And then you had the promotional material for this game that was put out that featured, 1970s guy in his sweater grabbing a girl around her waist in obviously a negligee.
Yeah.
So you're to gather that the plot of this game, once again, is to be a sexual predator, and it's supposed to be played by a guy and a girl, where the guy is chasing the girl through the maze.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah. In 73.
Do you have any thoughts on this game?
That's crazy. It's weird to me that 45 years ago, this kind of stuff was happening.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
It's ridiculous.
It was so, in the most negative way, groundbreaking. It just stopped it right in its tracks.
I read that Atari, for one of their expos, wanted to do a 20-player version of Gotcha.
Wow.
That never happened.
Wow.
They wanted to build a 20-player machine of Gotcha.
Wow.
Which, I guess if you just, the domes, once the controversy hit, they removed the domes.
Right.
So it was just joysticks.
Yeah.
And then it just became, hey, it's
tag,
basically.
Check it out, it's a race game.
But the initial thought was to have a guy chase a girl through a maze. Mm-hmm. Be a sexual predator, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty crazy. So with those actual controversial games, I want to bring the mood up a little bit in the room here. It's kind of awkward and stuffy right now. How about a game series you and I both know and love so well? It's been going for 20 years now, and that's, in general, the whole series of Grand Theft Auto.
20 years?
1997 was
Wow.
GTA 1 when it first came out. No, at the time, it was pretty crazy, very violent, very sexual. Prostitutes are there. You can kill innocent people, get away from the cops. The cops are basically the bad guys in this game here. But it's in a light manner, if that makes any sense, what I just said. It's a lot of negative stuff, but puts it in the fun way. And I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying a good GTA game myself.
No, GTA, well, what GTA would become, maybe not the first one, but what the series would become as technology would advance, it's just a commentary on society. It's a parody of American society.
For sure, yeah.
Everything from the TV shows to what you do in the game, and it takes its inspirations from different franchises from film and TV. I mean, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, obviously inspired by Miami Vice, and
Scarface.
Yeah, thank you. And then I guess the biggest, GTA is just controversy in a box to begin with.
Yeah, for sure.
There maybe wasn't as much for the last one because I guess everybody just knows what
people
it is.
they know now at this point. Like parents know, don't get this for your kids unless they're a certain type.
but GTA San Andreas was chocked full of controversy.
Oh yeah, the hot coffee mod. So that was kind of hidden in the code of the game, but you could have what they call the hot coffee mod, where you have a date. You ask the date to come inside your house, and she comes in. It cuts to a cutscene of you, the two of you having pretty much uncensored sex.
Yep,
right there in the game. But once again, there are games out there crazier. I mean, I don't have it on my list, but there's a game called BMX XXX, where it's a BMX bicycle racing game, kind of in the vein of Tony Hawk. And as you progress through the game, you unlock strip teases of actual naked women, like real women.
Yeah,
like real women filmed with a camera, strip for you for 3 minutes while you are beating the game.
Yeah,
and maybe other stuff too.
And the GTA games have that aspect to them, but I'm biased because I love.
And they're great. I mean, they're so well
From
done.
Vice City to now, I've been a huge fan of the GTA games.
You look at Custer's Revenge or Gotcha or JFK Reloaded, and those are like the shock jock version of a game where they are terrible just to make news, but the gameplay itself is shite. The quality is nothing near good. But a Grand Theft Auto is just a great, great, great game. And GTA 4, I mean, and 5, they're all so deep. They're games within a game. I mean, the racing is a game by itself. The bowling is a game by itself. I mean, and just
darts.
They're well, they're well made.
There's so much to do.
You can go to a nightclub and watch Cat Williams.
Yes, or Ricky Gervais.
Oh yeah, it's true in 4. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what they would ended up doing with the online content in GTA 5, where you have an apartment, and then you actually an actual bank account and a garage where you keep your cars. I love GTA. Like I said, maybe I'm biased to talk about the controversy of GTA because I'm such a fan.
Yeah, but it is there. Clearly, I mean, I think from a parent perspective that's not used to that, they see that. But once you take it as an art form and what it is, and it's so well done, and the amount of effort and skill and thought that goes into that, I see no problem with it compared to the others myself.
But one of the big points of contention about the GTA series has been the over-sexualization and exploitation of women in that game.
Which, once again, it's being a social commentary on the state of affairs in the world. I mean, like it or not, that happens. So it's kind of a parody on that. That's the way I see it.
But I ask you, is it worse in GTA or in the Duke Nukem games?
Shake it, baby. You want to dance?
Too bad you're not a pirate, baby, because I got your booty right here.
You must be a parking ticket, because you got fine written all over you, baby.
Show me the money shot, honey.
Oh, melts in my mouth and in my pants.
You can dip in my fruit salad anytime, hot pants.
Life is like a box of chocolates, and I've got a sweet tooth.
You need a drink, baby? I got your hot chocolate right here.
Wow.
Duke Nukem became basically like a muscled up, I don't know, who's the guy from Playboy?
Which one? Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what.
Pretty after a while, yeah.
Duke Nukem became. It started out as a pretty simple,
first person
run and gun game.
Yeah.
And then, he always had an edge to him, but it was it was like a damn aliens killed my car.
But as time progressed, did you ever play Duke Nukem Forever?
Yeah, well, that's what I
thought. Yeah.
Last piece came from Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah, it was just the opening 5 minutes of Duke Nukem Forever is crazy.
Yeah. Is that the Hive mission?
Yeah, I think that.
Or you got to go through the Hive?
I mean, the very beginning where you're watching TV and the girls are,
and he's playing Duke Nukem Forever.
He's playing it and the girls raise up. Yeah, it's I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Is anyone watch me play this? This is awkward.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's, that's not even innuendo in the Duke Nukem games.
No, like it's just happening.
It's just straight up. And it's because of that, the Duke Nukem games have become very controversial.
Right, yeah.
Though they didn't start out that way.
No, not so much.
They started out, like I said, it's almost like a Wolfenstein 3D.
Exactly.
Or Doom.
Right, yeah.
And then
same vein as that.
Yeah, that made more fun of stuff from pop culture.
Yeah.
With the alien references and the Star Wars
references. Worst thing you would do is call a
references.
cop a pig. You're like, oh, he called him a pig.
Yeah.
No, not so much.
But the Duke Nukem games, since I would say Duke Nukem 3D, have been very controversial, especially Forever.
Oh, yeah.
Forever takes it just to a whole different level.
The special edition was called the Balls of Steel edition.
Wow.
It's pretty great. Well, like you said, we can't speak of Duke Nukem without Wolfenstein 3D. Comes out in 1992 on the DOS and later on the SNES. Known for his extreme violence, Nazi imagery, and tied into that, Adolf Hitler is the final boss. So you actually fight in Wolfenstein 3D. Yeah.
The big boss, Hitler.
Yeah. Same idea. Looking back, it's not as controversial for the same reasons as Duke Nukem, but it had the Nazi violence to it, and those just don't mix by themselves or especially together.
Yeah, it's hard to find entertainment out of Nazis.
Yeah.
Unless it's in Indiana Jones movies, and then those are the only good ones.
That's what I hear.
But I will say, Wolfenstein 3D, very popular. I've played a lot of Wolfenstein 3D.
Oh, yeah, it's a classic.
That's the first. Is it the first first-person shooter? Probably not.
It's one of the first. It's up there.
But I remember playing that, like you said, 93.
Yeah.
Is when I remember playing that.
My first PC I ever had, very, very first, only had Wolfenstein 3D and Jezball on there. Only two games. Remember Jezball?
Yeah.
I used to love Jezball.
Uh-huh.
That's all I had.
And now it's Mad Balls.
It is. It's always the balls.
Oh, one, not to step back, but one thing I forgot to mention about Duke Nukem Forever, one of the 2-player missions that you can play is a capture the flag type mission.
Yeah.
I forget what is it called, but it's women. It's capture the flag, but it's women.
Yeah,
you're not capturing flags.
Yeah,
you're capturing like your opponent's women.
With a babe, I think they called them babes, something like that. I forget. It's been a while.
Oh,
I try to erase that from my memory.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I loved Wolfenstein 3D when it first came out.
Oh yeah.
Hey, the last one on my list is Saw, like the original Saw video game.
Yeah,
and it was very controversial. Because of the same reasons the movies were. It was called torture porn. It was called, it was exploiting torture and violence for pure entertainment. And a lot of people were not happy when that first Saw video game came out. It's really kind of shit. The game is not fun. Have you ever played the original Saw game?
I think I rented that one. It's one of the last games I ever rented.
It's not a great game.
Right.
But it does have a lot of, and I'm just going to play some audio from the Saw game and let you hear just how, I just want you to tell me how these sounds make you feel.
Yeah. Ugh, so gooey.
It's digging around in a body full of needles.
That's rough.
Yeah. I believe that's the blade swinging back and forth.
Gosh.
Oh, and there's Billy. So just some of the sounds from the Saw video game. Yeah. And it is, man, it is not a fun game to play.
Right. They had a sequel to it as well.
They've had several.
That's the crazy part about it.
I want to say there was a different version of the Saw game that came out that was a PC only.
Really?
There was a little more plot driven. This is basically
just mini games of death.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It should have been called mini games of death because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Wow.
But
I have a few more on the list. I'll go through them quickly here. You can't speak of any kind of controversy list and not speak of South Park. So South Park: The Stick of Truth 2014 is on there.
You love that game though.
It's fantastic. I beat it one day. I love it. But I mean, Nazi imagery, abortions, anal probing, not good stuff to talk about and do. But it's all part of that game in classic South Park style with a twist.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, it's a commentary. It's a parody of just modern things, and I think it's a well done game for what it is. Very controversial as it should be, but check it out because the sequel. What is the fractured butthole?
Yeah, the fractured butthole.
Yeah, the virtual butthole comes out soon. In 2012, we had Street Fighter Cross Tekken. And this game's on my list. It's not your classic like violence or sexual activity. It's not on the list for that reason. This game's controversial to the consumer because on Street Fighter Cross Tekken, the game's downloadable characters were already on the disc. Whenever you paid money for it to be a DLC content, they were readily available, already on the disc. They were just unlocked behind a paywall. One of the first times it's ever happened for a disc-based game, and that was pretty
controversial.
Yeah. Would you be mad about that? Like,
yes,
you go in for
would.
DLC, you expect to download something. The moment you pay for it, boom, they're available on the disc the whole time for you to play.
Yeah, it has to be, in order for me to be okay with DLC.
Yeah.
Because even with the fighter games, like you're talking about,
yeah,
it seems like a little much.
Right.
Like, you want me to pay extra money for a fighter, and especially an instance right there where I've already got it. But when the Injustice game came out and all the DLC came down, it was just like costumes,
different skin,
which is fun. I mean, it didn't really take away from the fun of that game. But I am, and again, this is probably my bias, but I'm actually cool with DLC for a game like GTA 5. Mm-hmm. I mean, that game was so big and so expansive and takes so long to get through and really can be endless if you want it to be, that when they release DLC, odds are I probably am never going to experience, but even if I do, it's just an added bonus that I don't mind paying a little extra money for.
Right.
Or Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, DLC makes sense and stuff like that. Like those real story-driven games. Those fighter games, though.
Not so much.
Because, I mean, those could have been on the original game.
And sometimes they were.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So that's controversial for a different reason. The last two here are kind of in the same vein of genres, at least. And the first one up is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Came out in 2009. And there's a small mission in there called No Russian. If you've played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Mission in the game is where you have to massacre civilians in an airport. It's relentless. The first time I played that, my mouth was left open after the scene.
Now, in this, you're it's called No Russian because
Right.
you're trying to find the one Russian, right?
Right, yeah.
But you're not sure what he will look or she will look like,
and
right?
you are kind of a spy acting like one of those people. So you're doing this to be in part of that group,
Right.
but you're not one of those guys.
But initially you had to participate.
Right, yeah.
In later versions, they patched it so you could skip the mission.
Yeah, I remember playing it. They had a little warning beforehand. If this is offensive to you, you can press A to skip now. Otherwise, continue. I'm like, what is this?
And in just listening to it, it's pretty hardcore.
Have you played this before? That's rough,
I haven't
man.
played. I watched it online.
I didn't. I knew nothing about it before. I'm just playing the game, and my mouth is like you're doing it, and you're feeling terrible. Like innocent people and women, and they're on the floor crawling, and you're having it's crazy.
And this was 2009, right?
2009, yeah.
So this is years after the stupidity of Death Race being controversial.
Right, yeah.
I actually see why people would have a problem
yeah,
with
for
this.
sure.
Here's a clip from the mission, the Call of Duty mission, No Russian.
Remember, no Russian.
So you get out of the elevator.
Opens up, gives you your
your
what you have to
guns.
do. Yeah. Terminal, people talking.
Just
walking.
people all around.
Yeah.
Just normal citizens.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I guess in today's world where stuff like that actually happens, it's just maybe we're a little more sensitive to it. But that is, I didn't play it. I just watched the YouTube video.
Yeah, it kind of brought me back hearing that. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's just
But I think I'm not taking up for them, but I think what the developers trying to do is add some humanity to the whole game because for 20, 30 years now, we've pressed buttons and killed people through games, not thinking twice about it. You know, whenever you kill a soldier in a video game, he's got a wife and kids at home, a mother and father that love him. You don't think of the humanity. But stuff like this here, when it's a civilian, it kind of gives you that thought of, wow, these are people with actual lives I'm killing when I've done this for 20 years prior and not thought twice about it.
Right.
I think that's what they're trying to go for. It just kind of it was conveyed the wrong way.
Because you're right, because it does when you just, it's not,
when
when they don't have a gun and they're unarmed and they're just civilians,
it
does make you
when you kill a bad guy,
twice.
how many people have you killed in Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption combined?
A lot.
Thousands, right?
Yeah.
You never thought twice about their personal feelings.
Right.
But here in the terminal, you're like, oh, man, why am I doing this?
It does make, like I said, Ian, I haven't played it, but just in watching that No Russian mission,
you're
just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I just feel uncomfortable.
So even after that, for a while, it made me think twice about not playing games, but whenever I, just the effects of doing it. Like every time I would shoot someone in a game that was a
civilian,
a bad guy, I'm like, wow, they have a life too. They have a family that misses them at home. It was crazy, but it's true. Wow.
It's like the deleted scene from the original Austin Powers when he runs over the henchman.
Oh, yeah.
And then it flashes to his wife getting the phone call.
Right.
And then Rob Lowe is at Hooters with his buddies waiting on him to get there.
Right.
And then he gets the call. Gary's not showing up.
See? Stuff you don't think so deeply about. Yeah. Last one here is kind of in the same vein, like I said, with the Army game. That's Medal of Honor from 2010. And this one, oddly enough, in the online multiplayer, had you the ability to play as two teams, as most onlines do. One is the actual good guys, the American soldiers, and one is the ability to play as the Taliban. And that was a big problem when that first came out. They soon released a patch later on that took out the name Taliban, and it was changed to the opposing force. It's still the same get-up and weapons and all that. And the game to this day still can't be sold on a military base because of that reason. Even though it's been patched, the Medal of Honor name is tainted because they used the term Taliban as a playable team where you could be on. You could be part of the Taliban digitally.
That's so...
Yeah. But now it's the opposing force if you play the game.
Right.
You're part of the opposing force.
But honestly, to be honest with you, though, that's no worse than action movies for the last, through the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Where you would have terrorists from Middle East countries depicted as the bad guy. Mm. It's just in the world that we live in now.
It's an Xbox version of True Lies.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're
is.
exactly right.
Yeah.
It just catches our attention more, and you're like, oh, is that xenophobic? I can't tell anymore.
I don't even know.
When it was so clear in Custer's Revenge that it was.
Quite a good mix of games we had there, from sexual controversy to violence to stupidity.
To Duke Nukem.
Yeah, exactly. And some I can take up for and some not so much.
Duke Nukem does have one of my favorite scenes, and I saw this in researching this.
What's that?
There's a point where he takes a shot at Master Chief in Halo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When he sees almost the crash kind of pod, like a.
Well, no, he's got the armor, and the guy's like, "What's the armor called in Halo? The suit."
I can't. I'm blanking right now. It's been a while.
But the guy's like, "Oh, we have your suit ready," and it's a Halo suit.
Yeah.
And he's like, "That kind of armor is for pansies." Something like that.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Controversial games, let us know. What's yours?
I'm sure there are quite a few we didn't talk about. Let us know on Twitter at AdamandJP and give us a tweet. We'll retweet that.
Here's an interesting question. Maybe we should make this one of our poll questions. Is there a game that you've played that made you uncomfortable in playing it? Like the No Russian mission.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever played a game that you just became totally uncomfortable with?
Because I'm not saying I was offended. It's hard. It's almost impossible to offend me. That made me feel kind of dirty.
Yeah.
I felt wrong for that.
Yeah.
I was wronged.
Check us out online, adamandjp.com. Don't forget the ESO podcast that is up right now, the mother show on the ESO network. I'm on there.
Yeah.
We're talking about Geek Confessions.
It's pretty awesome.
And we also talk about Pod Casserole a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
So,
nice.
If you want to hear me on another show,
do it.
Go check out this week's ESO podcast.
If you're hearing this early enough, you have time now to go to the Louisville Arcade Expo. It's our 5th year there. A fantastic show.
I am very curious as to what this year's experience is going to be like.
We've seen the map of the layout, and they have much more planned. They have panel rooms. They have multiple VR rooms.
Like a designated staging area?
Yeah, the whole stage set up. I'm excited for the change.
This is
because it's been a great
cool.
show, but it's honestly not changed at all since the first time we went, which is it's a good thing. We liked it. We enjoy it.
As long as the jukebox is in the lobby.
Oh.
I'll be happy.
Okay.
I do love going up to the jukebox and playing I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett and the
Have
Black
you actually
Hearts.
played stuff from the jukebox?
Yeah, I played Pac-Man Fever last year.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. Is it a paid jukebox? It
No.
is, really?
They've got it set to where you just, like everything there.
I didn't know that.
It's on free play.
That's awesome. I had no idea.
You just go up and hit the buttons.
All the years there, I had no idea.
Hey, don't forget to check out Collection Connection. I don't know if we stressed that enough in that
Do it.
whatever it was at the beginning. Go check out Josh's show, Collection Connection. Find everything. Send us an email. On Tuesday's show, we have the SOB of the week.
Right.
It's a girl.
Okay.
So
that's DOBOTW?
I guess, yeah, well, SOB of the week can be gender neutral.
You can be a DOB. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, DOBOTW.
That sounds weird. But yeah, you can get on that by sending us an email or tweeting at us or just making contact with us socially somehow.
Not only the DOBOTW next week, we also have All Things Kong.
Yes.
Coming on Tuesday. I'm excited
I wanted to call it the King of Kong, but I can't.
That's not a right thing you can do.
No.
Probably copyrights to that. Speaking of arcades.
Yeah, that's true. The King Kong stuff, the good, the bad.
Yeah.
And King Kong Lives.
Can I just go ahead and give you a warning? Those movies got me so emotional.
Yeah,
I've almost forgotten how emotional they make me.
This is right up your alley.
Yeah.
Because you're big into the idea of creatures that might exist that we don't think exist.
Right, yeah.
Which is cryptozoology.
And then imagine those blown up to a giant size, and sometimes you have two of those fighting. It's like everything in the world great for me.
Yeah. That's coming up on Tuesday's show.
Yeah.
It's all things King Kong. I'm Jay Patrick. That's Adam.
This is Pod Casserole.
No.
Meet your Pod Casserole.
Yay! This has been a production of the Adam and JP family of on-demand talk radio.
AdamandJP.com.
Right now.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network, your station for all things geek, classic, current, and beyond. Be part of the crew at ESONetwork.com.